So since school is back in session and all that good stuff, I thought that I would share some tips and just some general information about how to leave an abusive relationship while you're in college, because that's actually when I was able to leave my very first abusive relationship, was while I was in nursing school. So I'm just going to try to give you some information on how I did it, as well as some places where you might be able to reach out to for help if you need help leaving that type of a situation. Now, I know nobody really likes to talk about abuse and things like that, but me being a survivor of domestic violence myself, I really think that it's important to put this information out there so hopefully it can help somebody not have to go through the same situations that I had to deal with. So, like I said, my very first really terribly abusive relationship happened when I was in nursing school. At the time I lived in Omaha, Nebraska, and I was going to nursing school every day from super early in the morning until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had a full day's schedule of classes. Now, the guy I was living with at the time, he used to lock me in the house when he would leave for work, because he usually worked nights. Like, he would work until maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. And so, like, when I say he locked me in the apartment, I seriously mean he locked me in the apartment. He had one of those locks on the door where you could actually like put a master lock, the little locks with the key. He put one of those on the door so then I couldn't get out. He was just very abusive. When I was in the shower, he would pull me out of the shower by my hair and all of those things. And I hate to see anybody else have to go through that. So, I wanted to share this information with you guys. And what happened was, obviously when you're at school for that many hours a day, you meet people and you become acquainted with those people who are in the same classes with you for that many hours a day. And so I met this really nice lady. She was an older lady who had decided to change careers, and she wanted to go from like an office job to nursing. And so her and I were lab partners. Her name was Rochelle. And I told her kind of the situation one day when I had come and she had seen a bruise on my arm. And I explained to her what was going on, and she told me that I needed to get out of there really quickly, because she had also been in abusive relationships in the past herself. And so at that point in time, I wasn't ready to admit to myself that it was actually an abusive relationship. I thought that it was just things that I was doing wrong. And I didn't, even consider that he was just abusing me. So with Rochelle's help, I reached out to the Student Life Center, who connected me with it wasn't really a counselor, but it was like a support staff person who worked with the advisors, who helped me find the resources that I needed to talk to someone and explain the situation and get their advice on what I should do, where I should go, where I can get help, who I can call. And they connected me with this really great resource. I believe it was Heartland. I will annotate it somewhere on the screen if I remember. I believe it was Heartland though. And they have a lot of domestic violence resources. They provide a lot of services to women and children, and also boys. Men and boys are not allowed in the domestic violence shelter, but they do offer, like, I believe they offer some type of help to where, if you're a man and you're in this situation, then you can also get assistance, because I know it's not just women. A lot of people feel like, in abusive situations like this, it's only women that it happens to, and that's not true. It happens to men just as much as it happens to women. You just don't hear about it. And I think that has a lot to do with the stigma of, oh, well, you're a man, you shouldn't be letting a woman abuse you, It kind of drains a man's ego, if you know what I mean. So, like, I reached out to them, and they basically told me that if I ever wanted to leave, to call this number. They had me write down a little number, and one day it got so bad that I came to school and I had bruises again, and Rochelle noticed, and she said, you know, if you won't call them, then at least come stay at my house. So I went to stay at her house for a few hours, and she and I were just talking throughout this whole time. And eventually I'm like, you know what, I've had enough. I want to be happy, I want to be safe, and I want to know, you know, that I'm loved. And with him, you know, I feel like he's not loving me, which obviously he wasn't, because if someone is abusive to you, they don't love you. That is not love. Love doesn't abuse you. Love doesn't try to kill you, okay? Sorry, stupid cat. But anyways, you know, Rochelle convinced me to, you know, call them. And so I called them. They sent a taxi to Rochelle's house. They picked me up there and they brought me to this domestic violence shelter. When I got to the shelter, I was so scared. Let me tell you, it is okay to be scared, because it's an environment where you're not used to being in. You're around different people. We did not have our own rooms. We shared a room with at least one other person, depending on the room that you were in. Some rooms had bunk beds where it would be 4 people in a room. Others had just single beds where it would be 2 people in a room. But it was a very nice shelter that I stayed at. It was like a house. And there was, I think, either 4 or 5. It was maybe 6. I don't remember exactly how many rooms there were, but they had counseling services that they offered. You know, they gave you free meals. You know, you did have to do chores, but they would switch it out every week, so you're not stuck, you know, cleaning the toilets every week. And you also had to cook for the entire house once a week. It didn't have to be anything extravagant. You know, if you couldn't cook, then they understand that. But, you know, people were responsible for helping run the house, basically. And I just am so thankful to this organization for helping me when they did, because, you know, I ended up having to go to the hospital, because when I first got to the shelter, they wanted me to go get checked out just to make sure that everything was okay, because I had the bruises and everything. And so when I went to the emergency room, they actually found that I had sprained my neck. So I was in a neck brace for a few weeks. And the doctor in the emergency room, when I went in, he actually told me, you know, that I'm lucky that I came in when I did, because he said the way that the sprain was on my neck, if there had been like really any more significant force than there was, he feels like I wouldn't have, you know, survived in that environment much longer. So, you know, I just encourage you to, if you're in an abusive relationship, take it from me. You don't have to listen to somebody who's never been in your situation. I have been multiple times. I have been in multiple abusive relationships. Please get help. Listen to me. If you won't listen to anybody else, listen to me. You deserve to be loved for real. You don't deserve to be hit, made fun of, talked down to, you know, just downright used and abused. You don't deserve that. You deserve real love. And if a man will treat you like that, or a woman will treat you like that, it's not love. So I hope that you will take my advice. I hope that this advice has been helpful for you. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, and I'll see you guys next time.